Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. I got a lot of great things to get to today. I want to start off with a review of The Hammering. One of my viewers sent me a clip from Scrooged, and it's great. And not only is this rant like epic by Lawrence O'Donnell, but it's not even original, like which you'll see in just a moment. And then I want to get into Alex Jones and Trump and Trumpers and Alex Jones fans because like they're just basically embarrassing themselves. And if you're one of those people, you might want to just watch this for your own good. Like, it's I'm here to help you out, right? And then I got a bunch of other stuff to get to, but let's start off here.
Demanding to know, where's Nancy? Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it? I don't know. Where's the hammer?
No. Would you hold the hammering, please?
Is it on the... Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering. Stop the hammering.
I better go. You're busy.
No, don't go. Would you hold the hammering, please?
Call Griffin. I don't care who the to call. Stop the hammering.
And, to not eat clams is what the hell's life for. Would you please, for the love of God and your own body, hold the hammering?
Empty out the goddamn control room and find out where this is going on. It's either there, or out there somewhere. Out of control. Jesus Christ. Crazy sound coming in my ear. This stupid hammering.
Coming as it does at this season of giving. Would you please hold the goddamn hammering now? You got it.
I told you why I wanted those words cut. It just sucks. It sucks to be out here with this out of control Any thing can come into my ear at any moment. These things. How do you say this guy's last name? Demanding to know, where's Nancy?
So I really enjoyed the Trump presidency. I enjoyed his election night in 2016 and how it made the liberal media react, especially like Rachel Maddow, but not everybody, and the way they were weeping. That was great. And then Trump not acting presidential and providing comic relief. I've talked about this before. And I liked him as a TV character. I liked the show The Apprentice. And I thought he was funny. And this is still a little bit funny, but it's about 10% as funny as it used to be. Because now Trump is just a mess, and his Trump supporters are a mess, and he's a cancer on society. And if you can't see the distinction in the way he handled Operation Warp Speed, the way he got worked on COVID, the way he got worked on the election, and the way he reacted on the big event, the big day in January, and everything he's done since, he's just been, like just a cancer. Like, just go away, right? He just should go away. And there's no chance of him ever doing anything good or turning this thing around. There's no hope. There's no hopium. I mean, there's hopium is there because hopium is delusional. But there's nothing there, right? He has no chance of turning anything around or stopping what's going to happen. He's just going to make things worse. Getting elected, he's going to make things worse. Running as for president, he's going to make things worse. And that should be clear to everybody, but it's not, right? And so on Christmas Day, this is what he said. Merry Christmas to all. Okay, we're off to a good start. Including crooked Joe Biden's only hope, deranged Jack Smith, the out-of-control lunatic who just hired outside attorneys. This is his Christmas message. Fresh from the swamp, unprecedented, to help him with his poorly executed witch hunt against Trump. And MAGA. Included also are world leaders, both good and bad, but none of which are as evil and sick as these thugs we have inside our country who, with their open borders, inflation, Afghanistan surrender, Green New scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke military, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, electric car lunacy, and so much more are looking to destroy our once great USA. May they rot in hell again. Merry Christmas. Now, that's funny. I can't, that is a funny thing that an ex-president just said. And, I'm not denying the comic value here because it's great. But it's not as funny as it was because the guy is just a mess. And it should be clear to everyone, like I said, that he can't bring this country back. So it says here, Trump shares poll result predicting revenge and dictatorship as priorities. And so Trump posted this on Truth Social. Donald Trump, this was the poll of what people thought his motivation, what his next presidency would look like. Economy, power, revenge, dictatorship, dictator, and that's those are the key words that stuck out, right? The revenge is the biggest word here, which is, we know, is his biggest thing because it's all he talks about. He's most passionate about revenge. And for him, not for the country, not to make America great again. That ship has sailed. And you guys should know he can't make America great again. He can't reverse these policies. I mean, he said it in his own tweet. This is from December 9th, 2020. And it's still up. Like, this is, still up on his Twitter account. If somebody cheated in the election, which the Democrats did, why wouldn't the election be immediately overturned? How can a country be run like this? Now, this is the sitting president saying this, that he's absolutely powerless to overturn what he considers a very clear rigged election, which the whole thing, everything's rigged in the system. It's far beyond this election, and everyone should know this by now, that everything that Trump was about, everything that Trump did was part of their plan, and that they moved their agenda forward in leaps and bounds when Trump was president. But for him to say this right here, it means he's completely powerless, right? And so 4 years later, revenge is his biggest, this is what he wants, but dictatorship is up there, right? And so it says here, Trump bizarrely reposted a word cloud showing what poll respondents suggested are his main motivations for becoming president again. And he put that out there, that he wants to have revenge, that this is about revenge is his number one, and that's what it is. Like, no one can deny it. These are just, random stupid sheeple. His number one motivation is revenge and all the other things that go with it, right? And so that's what people see, and they should see. Everyone should see that, right? He's obsessed with this. He doesn't care about making the country great again. He doesn't care about you. He never cared about you. He never cared about you ever in his life. He doesn't care about other people. He doesn't care about people close to him who have, who sat on the sword for him, whatever that expression is. Taking the sword? What is it? Whatever that expression is, he didn't care about those people. He just didn't, right? He's never cared. And, he'll turn on those people when he needs to. You see it over and over again. The stories are there. People who used to be, staunch Trump supporters, and he throws them under the bus if he needs to. Trump cares about himself. He's off the charts in terms of his narcissism. He doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about you. He cares about Trump. And this is what this election's about. And his continued, being a part of this election is, it's just doing more damage than good. And there's no good candidate out there. There's nothing that's going to save the country. But Trump is always going to bring more drama and more whatever to the situation. He's just making everything worse, and he gives them a platform to, he's the centerpiece of the Democratic platform, the Democratic media, MSNBC and CNN. He's the center of their universe. If he just went away, they would have to come up with real things, like real agenda, real plans, real policies. Not, hey, we're not Trump. That's the only thing that they've got. And so his continued presence here is just, it's a drain on all of us in various ways. And the system, like the system's going down anyway, but Trump is no longer comic relief. The only thing he ever was good at was being comic relief. and embarrassing the office of the presidency, which I enjoyed. He was my favorite character as a president. Whatever the actual role is, he's my favorite one up until he got worked on COVID, and then he just collapsed in an embarrassing way. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the comments I got. I got some pro-Trump comments and some pro-Alex Jones comments. And they have told you who they are. They've admitted who they are. And if you believe in them, if you believe they're truth tellers, then you would believe what they're saying. But the delusion, the level of hopium and delusion here, self-delusion, and, all of it, and just stupidity amongst these people. And so I'm going to start here because I didn't show you this before. And then I'll show you the memes I've put together where Alex Jones just admits who he is. And so it says here, InfoWars, Alex Jones is a performance artist, his lawyer says in divorce hearing. During a heated divorce proceeding, Alex Jones' lawyer insisted the bombastic radio jock who spins conspiracy theories is just playing a character. Now, if you hear his ex-wife talk, again, she was there for the whole thing. And there's disturbing things that he did with his kids. Like he brought his kids on his show, and his son read conspiracy theory stuff, like, goofy Alex Jones stuff, with a mask on. Like he did these weird things with his kids. And his wife is whatever she is, right? But they had a very contentious divorce, and he made over under $160 million in 3 years. He's raking in the sky is falling bucks, right? But this is what the guy said. He's playing a character. This is his divorce lawyer. And so this is battle with his ex-wife, Kelly Jones. And Kelly Jones accuses him of all kinds of emotional abuse, and there's some weird stuff that he says. And judging by the InfoWars performance would be like judging Jack Nicholson by depicting of the Joker on Batman. This is what the guy stated, right? So he's comparing him to this. This is his lawyer, and this is the defense they came up with, that he's doing performance art, which is what he's doing. Like he is performing, he acts, he goes on these rants, he does these things. He's a character, and he knows what he's doing, and he does it, it's very successful. He does the sky is falling Chicken Little stuff, and he loses it, and he gets in these demonic states, and he does these rants, and he's doing this to provoke fear and anger in his audience, and it pops for him, right? It works for him. It attracts money to his, products and the stuff he's shilling for, and it's helped him to build his brand. He's been doing this for years, and everyone should know that means he's an absolute shill and a clown, and he's not, to be trusted, because he is appealing to the lowest common denominator. So here it says the couple divorced in 2015. Jones reportedly pays his ex-wife $43,000 per month. You understand the kind of numbers we're talking about. His monthly payments to her are $43,000 per month. That's $500,000 per year, over $500,000 per year. And also, she was renegotiating, right? So this wasn't, there's still whatever spousal support or whatever was going on there. And so this is the money that Alex Jones was raking in. And it says here, your reputation is amazing, Trump said December 2015. I will not let you down. That's what Trump said to Alex Jones. Of course, Alex Jones went on this anti-Trump rant where he swore and he lost it because Trump wasn't doing what Alex Jones wanted him to do. So I got all these comments from people who, despite, if they watched my video, and they must have watched some of it because it wasn't in the title. So despite me showing them Alex Jones, telling them who he is, right? And if they're saying he's believable and he's trustworthy, then you have to believe what he says. Then he's honest, and he's telling you what he is honestly. And, he starts off here. Let's go to this one first. He says this.
You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day? You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life? You know what it's like, you sons of bitches? I'm tired of your crap!
You know what it's like to go to sleep every day knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers that's probably going to kill you one day? You bastards, you ruined my life. I want to quit. I want my 401k. Let me get out of this contract. Okay, so Exhibit A, Alex Jones just told you he works for these psychotic killers who he calls demons, and he has hammering all the time. He works for them. I mean, he admitted it there. And if you believe what he says, you're saying he's trustworthy. He's telling you who he is and who he works for. And then there's this.
1,000 people that run the world, according to the Kissinger Group's own book, Superclass, put out 15 years ago, and I believe it's accurate. And the one guy that wrote it, Rothkopf, the head of the Kissinger Group, tried to recruit me to go meet with them in New York and Henry Kissinger, okay? So I'm explaining how real this is, okay? They tried to recruit me. They did it in front of my producer, so it's the only time I can talk about it because the other meetings were off record with other globalists. I have off-record meetings with these people, okay?
So is he telling you the truth? He's meeting with these people who he claims he works for. You know, the other thing to know is the best way to do a truther channel or any of these types of things is to stay under the radar as much as possible. If you get into big numbers, you are going to be seen. You are going to be noticed. You know, if you have millions of people as your potential audience or millions of people as your audience, and you're making millions of dollars, I mean, he's making $160 million in 3 years, over $50 million a year, $54 million a year. People are going to take notice of you. And he has these famous people on his show, all these things. And there's going to be conversations on how to deal with you. And there's going to be an attempt. Well, he says they wanted to recruit him. Like, that's obvious. And he was already recruited. Like, he's not, to be honest with, he was being honest with you, he'd say, the reason he got that big, you can't get that big without having help. You can't become what Alex Jones has become without having help. And I've said this before, once you have a show like his where you have 20, 30 people working for you and you have huge overhead, you have to pay for the bandwidth every month, then you're going to need lots of financial support. You have a huge nut to cover every month or whatever it is, your expenditures. So you have to bring in lots of money. And you're forced to be shilling all the time and to pander to your audience, and you have to have support from the beast. There's no way you get this big without support from the beast. Anybody can see this. Like, it's only the diehard Alex Jones fans who are. I mean, you can't be very smart if you're not aware. He's telling you right here what he is, right? And you know how big he is. You know how much money's at stake. You know his track record. And then there's all these admissions. But then there's this Illuminati admission.
You know, I have to probably say that I have major Masonic roots. A lot of my family, because Texas was pretty much Masonic through and through, was Masonic, high-level Masonic. And they were very, very good people. George Washington was a Mason. And all it is a university study of religions, of philosophy, and of building, and of mathematics, and of agrarian systems. And so what you see as Masons today is just those schools going on. And there have been hundreds of different variants and groups. And
wait, did you just say hundreds of different variants? Right? This is from like 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, something like that, before Trump. And I have this in an old video somewhere, but I'd have to go search for it. I didn't want to do that. But luckily someone had posted this because it's hard to find Alex on the internets anymore, right? And I'm sure he doesn't want people seeing this one.
Rosicrucian orders within the Masons and the Illuminati, founded in Germany, was a counter-Illuminati to the real Illuminati. And yes, undoubtedly, my family on both sides on the Mayflower, hardcore Protestants, you could say Rosicrucians. This country was founded by real Rosicrucians, not the Rosicrucians you see out there today. And so undoubtedly, if you want to say it, I mean, I would say I come out of a classical Enlightenment family of what you would call real Illuminati, real enlightenment. And I'll just say it here. And everybody asks me who I am, I'll tell you. There's no secret society. There's no secret messages. There's no secret handshakes. There's freedom. There's Jesus Christ. There's free market. There's family. There's the will to fight tyrants. That's what there is. The will to fight evil. The will to build a new civil.
So I wanted to put the video of his son. His son's like 6, 7, 8 years old. And he's wearing a mask, some kind of weird mask. I forget what it was, but it was weird. Like maybe a Joker mask or something, I don't know. And this is back, his son apparently later on went on his show, and then he turned on him, like he doesn't believe in the stuff his dad pushes anymore. But the first time he was on his show, he was a little kid, and it's really creepy. Like he's talking about, he's like a high voice and talking all this globalist stuff, and Alex Jones like he's going to be such a weapon against the New World Order and the globalists, all his typical rants, right? And his wife got involved. She won a custody battle, and there's all this thing. Him coming out saying he's a performance artist and all this stuff, right? And I couldn't find that video. But while I was looking for that one, I found this one where he talks about Prometheus being a Illuminati movie. And he's pretty clear on what that means. And this is just one of many times he used the term Illuminati in a derogatory, end-of-world, secret society way. And then all of a sudden he says, they're not a secret society and my family's been a part of them. Like, what are you talking about, right? Like that's just not what you've said all along. Like, you've taken a completely different stance. You've already admitted you work for these psychopaths that are going to probably kill you someday. You've admitted taking meetings with them, and now you're admitting that you're an Illuminati, which you have demonized forever. So he's telling you who he is. If you're saying, yeah, this guy tells the truth, he's telling you the truth then. If you believe in what he says, then he's saying these things. And here's the clip where he, demonizes the Illuminati. Okay, so the title behind this video, the title of this video is The Illuminati Message Behind Prometheus, Alex Jones.
They've got to do this or die trying to ascend. That if they don't, they won't ever gain that life extension technology system. The controllers of this globe are at least 30 years ahead of us technologically. That's why they're so arrogant right now. But remember, you're still human too. You've made a lot of mistakes, globalist. And from my research, there's a good chance you're going to destroy yourselves and all of us along with you. Films like Prometheus are basically where we see the revelation of the method via the Illuminati, and that's why this film is important. Ridley Scott, arguably one of the greatest living directors, is set to release a prequel to his 1979 mega hit, Alien, Prometheus. One of the most anticipated sci-fi films in recent memory. Infowars.com research analysis shows Prometheus is not just a film, but a revelation of the method, revealing the deepest secrets of the Illuminati mystery religion.
And so I'm not going to show you the whole clip, but what he does is he gets into things that I've talked about before. He gets into all these ancient symbols and ancient, references and cave art and all these things that are available that indicate that there has been genetic manipulation. And then he gets into Darwin and some of these other old-time, Illuminati type of people, which he claims, are connected to that, who are saying the same thing. Right. And from where I'm, looking at this over the years, because I've been, doing this for a number of years before Alex Jones talked about it here and was aware of this, the idea of human beings being genetically manipulated as some sort of slave race for some sort of technologically developed, superior, technologically developed and intelligent level beings, right? The evidence is pretty overwhelming that happened. And he's showing you some of that evidence, but he's claiming that's wrong. And that's some kind of Illuminati agenda. But then, of course, he said that he is a part of the Illuminati, like later on. And then he, goes on to say this here.
I do have a lot of contacts in the media, as viewers and listeners know.
Why in the world would anybody in the media be in contact with Alex Jones? Right? Like he says he has all these contacts in Hollywood and celebrities and within the globalists. I mean, all these people, he's having meetings and private meetings, but the media was doing everything in their power to make conspiracy theorists to be ridiculous and create this profile because it was a threat to their business model, which back when he was saying this stuff, it wasn't so evident to them. They didn't realize the takeover. This is way before Trump. This is, long before any of these things happened. Prometheus was released in 2012, and he's talking about before it was released. This is back when the trailers are coming out, right? And so the fake news narrative and Donald Trump weren't even on the scene until 2015, 2016, and nobody thought about the media the way it is now, the alternative media, the so-called truth community. Nobody took it seriously until after Trump, right? And Alex Jones was a part of that because Alex Jones, Trump went on Alex Jones' show and basically groveled to the truth community because Steve Bannon told him to do it. And he, lied about being a truther and, all these things, right? And that was because he needed support. And he went after, he tried to cultivate a relationship with truthers. Of course, Alex Jones isn't a truther. He's a shill and all these things, but you know what I'm saying. But anyways, back then there was no reason for media personalities to want anything to do with Alex Jones, right? But he's saying he has contacts in the media world and in Hollywood, and they gave him an advance copy of the script. Why would they do that unless, they did this also with that movie Machete. And Alex Jones, I comment about, there's a great comment that I got from somebody. The person says, that really ugly Mexican guy, and the guy has a smiley face, you don't even have to say his name or the movie, and we Mexicans all know you're talking about Danny Trujillo, which is the guy's name. But you guys know who he is, right? But I watched a little bit of the movie. I saw Alex Jones talk about it years and years ago, that it was going to create race wars and that people were leaking the script to him because they were concerned and they needed him to get the truth out about how racist it was and how it was going to rile up the Mexican community. And there was even a sequel to the movie, and I watched little bits of both, and it's kind of it's a spoof movie. And it's got a star-studded cast, and there was no issues with it. It didn't do anything, right? There was no riots, there was nothing. But Alex Jones gets released these movies he gets the script ahead of time, and then he does these bits on them, and it helps promote the movie. That would be the only reason they would do it. Right? That's the only reason back then they would give Alex Jones a script, because they know he's going to crap all over it. But in him doing that, it's going to drive attention towards the movie, right? It's going to make people want to see it. And so, he's an insider. I mean, all these things are indicators that he's an insider.
The reason we're taking time out to examine Prometheus is because its storyline, its plot, mirrors that of many ancient societies. And the ideas presented in Prometheus are at the core of Western secret societies.
These are ancient civilizations that were separated by centuries, and yet this same pictogram was discovered in every one of them.
H.G. Wells, or those that came before them, is obsessed with this, and they're on record part of secret societies who believe what they're promoting is actually reality, but knowing that the public is not ready to accept it, they cover it under the guise of fiction. And the film Prometheus is completely constructed around the secret religion of the Illuminati. Undoubtedly. If you want to say it, I would say I come out of a classical Enlightenment family of what you would call real Illuminati, real Enlightenment. And I'll just say it here. When everybody asks me who I am, I'll tell you. There's no secret society. There's no secret messages. There's no secret handshakes. And the film Prometheus is completely constructed around the secret religion of the Illuminati, who believe that they are transcendent and becoming the Superman.
We can create cybernetic individuals. We are the gods now.
Blurring the lines between fiction and reality.
So if you understand this, all the things that I've showed you here would at least cause you to say, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there should be some doubt. There's no fact anymore that Alex Jones is not a shill. Like, you can't sit there and watch him say these things and contradict himself and admit to these things and say that he is what he says he is. He admits to being a performance artist. That was part of his legal defense. He's making gobs of money. He's talking about having meetings and connections with these people. He talks about being in the Illuminati after demonizing the Illuminati, like all these things. These are all things he's admitted to. And if you're saying he's a truth teller, then he's telling you the truth, right? If somebody admits all these things, how do you go and stick your head in the sand? Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. There at least should be some doubt. I mean, you should see the comments. I started banning the people. I didn't have time to, I didn't think I was going to go back and review this. And then I thought about it. I'm like, these comments are horrible. Maybe you guys saw some of them, how oblivious people are. And claiming Alex Jones got all these predictions right. Of course he did. And he got a lot wrong. And, this isn't him being a prophet. This is him being a part of he's a part of it, right? He's one of them. It's clearly he's one of them. So let's go back to the performance artist piece. I'll show you the couple of the rants that he does, which are all intentional. Like, what does he get out of the rants? He creates fear. He creates anger. He creates an entertaining show and is able to then market these things. He has the sky is falling moment, and then he sells you something so that you can feel secure about the sky is falling. The economy is going to collapse, so he sells you gold. Whatever it is, right? He tells you something that makes you uncomfortable. Then he provides a solution in the form of some pills he's giving you or something that he's doing that makes you feel like, that you're prepared and that Alex Jones is trustworthy and he's in the know, right? You don't get into Bohemian Grove with all these elite people unless you're allowed in. Alex was known by these people, right? Like, how can you sneak in and be walking around as somebody, I meet with globalists in secret, but when I went to Bohemian Grove, they didn't recognize me. And he snuck past their ultra security where there's previous presidents there. George W. Bush was there, these other people. And these famous people and these politicians and ultra wealthy people. And he and some comedian from England slip in without any, come on. It's stupid. Nobody would believe that. Like, nobody with any critical thinking skills would believe that. Let me show you the two memes here. Then I want to show something with Trump.
This is a human. This is what we look like. This is what we act like. This is what everybody was like before us. This is what I am. I'm a throwback. I'm here. I've got the fire of human liberty. I'm setting fires everywhere.
This is a shill. This is what we look like. This is what we act like. This is how you make $165 million. I'm COINTELPRO. I work for the CIA. I'm cutting you out of your money. I'm cutting you out of your money everywhere. We're at war. I've declared bankruptcy. I'm broke. I need your help right now. My body's full of cholesterol, and there's a strange growth on my scrotum. There's only one way to fight this madness, to win this war. You need to buy my products, and you need to do it now before my head explodes. My blood pressure is too high. I'm on the verge of being thrown out by Illuminati, and they've canceled my gym membership, and I need your money and your support now. I just made a stinky. Roger.
Also, let's revisit this thing with Trump in the Fifth Avenue speech.
The people, my people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
His audience laughs, right? His audience gives a positive response to that, and they know it's true. And just think about that. Like, he could walk up and murder somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and his supporters wouldn't leave him. And what he's saying is his supporters wouldn't leave him no matter what. But you could say that when he did Operation Warp Speed, he did, the moral equivalent to murder. Like, you could, whatever you want to say, the way that all ended up, we know it's way worse than just shooting one person in Fifth Avenue. His participation in Operation Warp Speed, think about all the consequences that have happened because of that, right? And so, and it's nothing he could do, and the way that he handled COVID, shutting down the economy, the way he got worked on the election, the big event in January, and all the selfish stuff he's done since then, it's enough evidence that every supporter of Trump should have bailed on the guy. And he's not a good guy. Like, he's selfish. He's narcissistic. He's not a person that's, He doesn't care about other people. Like he's just a performer. He's a shill. He's not that smart. He's not, he hasn't been very successful. And think about the effect he's had on the country. It's a negative effect. We're way more divided. They push through all their liberal agenda. The right wing has gone crazy. The Trump supporters are unhinged. It's way worse. Trump has made the country way worse, just like Joe Biden has made the country way worse. And so it's undeniable to anybody with any common sense. And so he's getting this response from the audience who's agreeing with him. And we've seen this play out, that he could shoot someone at Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose any support.
The people, my people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No, they say, Trump, we love you too, man. Trump's voters are by far, I'm at 68, 69%. I'm at 90% total. Like, will you stay? Absolutely. I think it's 68 or 69%. Will you most likely stay? That gets into the 90s. Other guys are like at 10. A guy like Jeb Bush, he has nobody, but he's like they don't have people. They have nothing. Rubio, soft. They're all soft. All soft. My people stay. By the way, Cruz, soft.
Trump brags like nobody's business. Trump is the biggest bragger in the world right now. He brags more than anybody in a very childish, narcissistic, immature, whatever you want to call it, right? And he's bragging about his support, which he's not bragging about his supporters. He says they're the smartest people, but they're not smart. You can't be smart, especially at this point, but even back then. Trump was, he told you who he was all along. He's honest even in his dishonesty. He's a shill. He's a flim-flam man. He's a con man. He's a grifter. He's all these things. He's selfish. He was always that way. In his early interviews, he was never hiding it. He was always bragging. He was always self-promoting, always lying about his income, not paying his bills, stiffing common people, not paying his vendors. These are all things that were well known about Trump. And they're all things that are true, and people know they're true, and they've been documented. Inflating his wealth was one of the biggest things. He doesn't want that, right? And with all this information out there, all the stuff I just presented, with these guys telling you, and this is just a fraction of all the evidence supporting what I'm saying here, they're telling you who they are. They're telling you what's important to them. Trump, it's, at this point it's revenge, but Trump, it's about him. It's never been about you. Same thing with Alex Jones. You can call them both performance artists. You can call them both performers, fakers, liars, flim-flam man, whatever it is. And it's all true. All these things are true. Because they themselves are admitting to it. They're not hiding these things. And after I showed you all these things, and again, I don't care. You want to vote for Trump, fine. You want to buy Tangy Tangerine from Alex Jones, great. Whatever. Do your thing. It's your money, your decision. I don't care. I don't get into this. But it's, it's stunning that after all that you just saw, that you would still have 100% backing these guys who have been proven to be, they've both made the thing worse. And with all Alex Jones, fake predictions and all of Trump's, popularity and his, big speeches, the world has been a worse place since both of them have come onto the, spotlight. They've both created, deplatforming. They brought in censorship. They brought in the demonization of the truth community. Just for us all, they've made it worse. But they've made everything worse. It's more divisive. Alex Jones and Trump pitching fear, pitching anger, making people angry, talking about good and evil. And, Trump's enemies are all evil because he's the hero. And, people referring to him like he's the second coming of Christ. And the Cubies, Alex Jones was a Cubie for a while. And then he smelled a rat. And he decided to, say that it wasn't real after, going on record and endorsing the Q thing. But, even Alex Jones bailed on that thing. But Trump is coming around now using all those terms, deep state, and, manipulating these people, telling them what they want to hear. They're both, they're both cancers on humanity. They're both making the world a worse place. It's just there for anybody to see. If you can't see it, that's one thing. But if you have no doubts and you post comments like you're 100% behind them, I mean, what does that say about you? Like, what does it say about humanity? Like, what is it going to take for you to realize these guys aren't who they say they are? Your inability to face reality, right? It's like stunning, right? It's like, it's so embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing right now to be a Trump supporter or an Alex Jones fan. Okay, so as long as we're talking about shills, this is from Kevin Spacey's YouTube channel. And I didn't see the show. My wife watched the show, but I didn't see it. But whatever show it was on Netflix or HBO or whatever, he played a politician named Frank, and he's in character here. And Tucker Carlson is interviewing him and promoting him, Kevin Spacey, even though Kevin Spacey is, a perv, like some kind of deviant person, right? The opposite of what Tucker Carlson's audience, who are, people who are all about the, whatever that movie was, The Sound of Freedom, right? That, these are people that are against people like Kevin Spacey, a guy who's, classic Jeffrey Epstein kind of guy, right? And so, like Tucker Carlson's playing along, which, he has connections to the CIA, and he's, he does his own little weird giggles and weird, they're all strange, and they're all, a part of this thing, right? You don't get a platform like this if you're not controlled. Really weird. And apparently he's going to be interviewed on the Tucker Carlson show. I don't know. Whatever it is. I don't know if he did this for Spacey. I don't know what their relationship is. Epstein's alleged accomplice pictured posing on the British throne with Kevin Spacey. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell, and there's Kevin Spacey. And so there they are there, posing on the throne. Jeffrey Epstein's pilot said he flew Kevin Spacey on the plane dubbed Lolita Express. Kevin Spacey pushes to limit testimony from Ghislaine Maxwell witness. With Epstein files about to be released, Internet questions the timing of Kevin Spacey's bizarre interview with Tucker Carlson. Man sues Kevin Spacey over alleged groping at a island bar. Now, this was in Nantucket, a wealthy island in Massachusetts area. And this was an 18-year-old kid that wanted a picture with Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey invited him back to his hotel room. The kid said no, and Kevin Spacey then proceeded to fondle him. And Kevin Spacey won this case based on it being consensual, not that it was that he didn't do those things, right? Kevin Spacey may have been acquitted. That doesn't mean he should be uncanceled, because there's all these charges that were there, multiple ones. Some of them happened when these kids were minors, actors that he worked with. There's this actor, Anthony Rapp, who was 14 when this happened. Anthony Rapp was the guy who made out with Will Smith in a 6 Degrees of Separation. And so Kevin Spacey is still canceled in Hollywood. They don't believe that he was, not a predator. He wasn't uncanceled. And he has these connections to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and he flew on the plane and all these things. And here's Tucker Carlson. And what's he doing here, right? How is this a positive thing? Again, people are so desperate for somebody who is a mainstream person, people in the truth community, to validate their fringe-like beliefs. These people who are celebrities, who are rich and powerful people, they may be higher than like first-time souls, people who don't have, people have double-digit IQs, and there's a lot of low-consciousness people out there. But like the next step after being a low-consciousness person, in terms of like incarnations as a soul, souls are, they're not all created equal, in the sense that there are souls that have had more experience on planet Earth, and that's not necessarily a good thing if they are fallen or they're, if they've gone in a demonic direction. But it is something where you're more evolved if you've been here longer, if you've had more time on planet Earth, rather than first-time souls, and there's lots of them, you can see them, who, again, don't have the ability for abstract thought. But after that period of time, after the couple of lives, the desire for wealth and fame comes in. And, a soul gets to kind of get oriented to being a human being and gets the lay of the land. And the soul then aspires to be rich and famous and powerful because that's just the obvious progression. And then they find out, well, that wasn't it, right? They have miserable lives. They feel even worse than they did before when they were poor. I mean, it's, amazing. They don't want to go back to being poor, but they're actually more unhappy. And then they die and they realize that's not the goal here. And you might have multiple lives where you have to go through that to realize that physical pleasure and wealth and fame and things aren't why you're here. And then eventually it comes around to having some sort of divine realization where you understand that your soul has a path here and you try to align yourself with your soul. And people who are doing that are much farther along than all these rich and famous people. And people just don't understand that because most of the people are on a lower level and the next stage for them is to be rich and famous. And so they're in the stage where they look up to these people. And there are a lot of dopes like this in the truth community that look up to rich and famous people. And so when they have these realizations and they start moving away from the mainstream, they're looking for these people to validate them, people who are, they see as being at a higher level than them. And when one of those people comes into the truth community and agrees with them, they fawn and they fall before the person's feet and worship them, even though these people are just taking advantage of the dopery of these people, like the dopery of the masses. And Alex Jones and Trump and Tucker Carlson are great examples of this, right? And, it should be obvious to you. It should be obvious that these people aren't who they say they are. They're not your friends. They're not one of you. They're one of them, right? They're not one of us. They're one of them. And there's no one that's going to save you or save the system. And these people are part of it. And you don't get a microphone and a platform on that level if you're oppositional. Like they have to control you in some way. Then you're controlled opposition, not opposition. But anyways, it should be obvious, but it's not. Like it's like depressing. I mean, I don't get into it. Like it would be depressing if I thought about it. I got that people still believe in these people even after they display themselves over and over again, and they outright tell you who they are and what they're about, and you still believe, and you still deny these people that again you claim that you trust. They're telling you. Alex Jones just told you what he is. Trump tells you what he is. Tucker Carlson's telling you what he is every time they go out there, and you still find ways to rearrange reality to make the person into something they're not because some desperate need in yourself to fill some void and insecurity about the truth of your situation. And, that's humanity right now. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.